I'd like to just quickly pass over to Pete down the back, and this is our story, FRDC. By 2020, fishing and aquaculture will be more resilient to economic, social and environmental change.
By 2020, fishing and aquaculture will continue to have an improved performance in environmental sustainability.
By 2020, fishing and aquaculture industries will be more productive and profitable.
By 2020, recreational fishers will have improved opportunities for better fishing experiences and will play a greater role in the stewardship of the resource.
By 2020, more Indigenous people will derive benefit from fisheries and aquaculture and will play a greater role in the stewardship of fisheries resources.
By 2020, the information about the sustainability of fisheries will be more available to consumers and meet the needs of consumers.
Over the next 5 years, the FRDC will invest some $25 million each year to deliver the planned outcomes of its 2015-2020 RD&E plan. The planned outcomes include the 3 national priorities and the priorities articulated by our sector, jurisdictional and sub-program partners in their RD&E plans. Budgets have been allocated for these activities.
This industry is a big industry. It's taken us 2 years of conversations, and those conversations are all about what do you want to see by 2020? What sorts of change do you need? What were the priorities? What are the 3 things you really want to focus on to make a difference? And that's where we've ended up.
The first national priority of this plan focuses on ensuring that Australian fishing and aquaculture products are sustainable and acknowledged to be so. We're working on the development of the status of Australian fish stock reports, working to increase coverage of these assessments to around 200 species and reducing those classified as uncertain to below 10%. We're also seeking to measure the perception of the public towards fishing and aquaculture. This priority provides a foundation for communication activities.
The new plan will focus the FRDC on productivity and profitability for the industry. We will look at those key areas where we'll be able to make the biggest difference. Things like improving digital platforms, market knowledge, consumer insights. They're all the key fundamental pieces of data that we're going to focus on over the next 5 years. A key component of delivering and implementing our plan is joining the consumer to the producer. Through the work that FRDC is doing with chefs, we're trying to educate the consumers about where the seafood comes from, the sustainability, right through to the culinary capabilities of that fish that they're buying.
The science to make sure that profit increases and productivity commensurately goes up is absolutely critical. And whether that's increasing the consumption of Australian seafood, whether that's increasing our trade to new areas, particularly those with trade agreements, there's some very broad goals to make sure that this industry is seen as a big contributor to the profit and productivity of Australia.
Over the last 20 to 30 years, aquaculture's been probably the single largest growth sector in fishing and aquaculture in Australia. We see that there's a number of species that have the potential to be developed. They're either on the shelf and could have significant increases in their production or could be developed over this 5-year period. We've just started a major project on yellowtail kingfish, which is all about bringing whitefish to the table of all Australians. So that's looking at reducing the cost of production. We'd like to see that we bring a couple of those species out and produce them to help aquaculture production go over 100,000 tonnes by 2020.
The FRDC will work with our partners to add value to what they do. Collaboration is integral to FRDC. Without collaboration, we can't deliver, and our priority is to deliver the needs to the sectors and jurisdictions.
So we're really keen in moving into the implementation step now, having some real tangible outcomes, being able to quite clearly display to our stakeholders that we've achieved some real outcomes, especially in the 3 national priorities.
The goal for this plan is to make everything we do measurable. Having some very clear metrics around what we're trying to achieve and where we're going is a key component to this new R&D plan. It's vitally important that we connect the user, the people who want the answers, with the people who are doing the research.
The partnerships are absolutely essential to making this happen. FRDC cannot do this by itself. It can't do it just with the researchers, and it can't do it just with the fisheries managers. The most important thing that we have to do is get everyone working together.
We'd like consumers to have Australian seafood at front of mind when they go out to a restaurant for dinner, when they're going to the supermarket, when they're thinking about what protein to buy for their meals, that seafood's right up there.
We've been doing a lot of planning, we've been doing a lot of consultation. It's taken 2 years to get to this point. The job now is to implement. For the next 5 years, we're going to be totally focused on making this happen. And that's what our challenge is now. And our message to you, as members of fishing and aquaculture, is to work with us, partner with us. We will be with you, trying to make sure that this plan implements by 2020.
That's the story we're selling. That story is not our story. It's obviously the story of a lot of people who contributed, and there's a lot of people obviously in this room. In fact, almost everyone in this room has contributed to that story. We have a booth here at the conference. We're very keen to have people come and talk to us about which parts of this plan you would like to be involved in, where you see you can add value to the plan. We all have limited resources. Working together, we think we can achieve a lot. Thank you.